Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and Discussion for September 3rd, 2021, at around 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Not too much to talk about today, but a look at a system that could be forming in the Gulf of Mexico over the next several days, and a look at Hurricane Larry over the Central Atlantic. So, jumping straight into everything, taking a wide look across the tropical Atlantic this afternoon. Here's Hurricane Larry over here. This will be turning well away out to sea and should pose no significant threat to land. However, there will be some swells that will probably radiate outwards from this, impacting the United States East Coast here during the next several days, potentially Florida and the Lesser Antilles, and Invest Area 91L, which is a new wave here near the Yucatan Peninsula. This will be moving into the Caribbean, or into the Gulf of Mexico rather, during the next several days, where development chances could rise from this in the Gulf of Mexico or Bay of Campeche. Taking a look here at Hurricane Larry, again, right now, sustained winds right about 90 miles per hour. And again, this will be continuing to intensify during the next several days. It looks like right now, at the moment, that there is an ongoing eye wall replacement cycle based on the microwave imagery here. We notice a very well organized central dense overcast. So the storm is organizing. And again, this is moving generally towards the west-northwest like this and should not pose any threat to land at all. So not really going to be focusing on this storm, but we'll look at the modeling here in a minute. And then the delayed images here, don't mind that, but a look here at Invest Area 91L. Again, notice that there's definitely some spin down here in this region. And right now, that there's a lot of land interaction with the Yucatan Peninsula, so this isn't really going to help its case at all. This will be moving, though, into the Gulf of Mexico and Bay of Campeche during the next several days, and development chances there are a little bit higher as the shear relaxes at least a little bit in through here. Again, a look at this on the graphical tropical weather outlook. Again, National Hurricane Center only really giving this about a 30% chance during the next several days, but this could come up and affect some of the same areas potentially that were affected by Hurricane Ida not too long ago. The development region is anywhere really from the Bay of Campeche all the way through the northern central Gulf of Mexico. So again, have your hurricane preparedness plans ready. I don't really see this being a significant deal, but it's certainly, if this goes into areas that were already hit hard by Ida, it doesn't help any at all. So what's going on here? Where's these storms going? Well, we can look at that here on the GFS 850 millibar field. We'll actually jump up to the 500 millibar height anomalies here. And this will give you a kind of a general idea at what we're looking at for Larry and why this should not be a significant threat to land. So right now, the storm is caught in between this ridge to the north, but there is a trough that is approaching the northeast United States, or already near the northeast United States. And this trough here, in this cold front really, was responsible in part from the remnants of Ida, and this front was responsible for all the flooding and severe weather up across the northeast over the last several days, including those very powerful tornadoes in New Jersey, some of which went through my own hometown. Certainly not the most pleasant thing. This trough, though, is lifting northeast, and it's eroding this ridge that is positioned near Greenland southward, which is generally, correcting the storm to the southwest right now. And as this trough moves, again, the storm is also moving. This trough, it's very deep. And again, it's not really going to capture this storm here, but what we notice is that the steering is relatively weak down through here, or the component of flow. There's not really a lot of, strong wind carrying this thing westward, and then this thing will catch a second trough that, again, is going to be kind of forming over right now. It's basically over Canada and will be dipping southward. And this front will be continuing to lift it northward and eroding this ridge. And you can see where the storm just kind of goes right along and harmlessly out to sea. Now, there have been some concerns that, again, this ridge is a bit undersampled. It gets stuck under the ridge, much like Florence. In this case, I don't really see that being the case here. This is probably going to go harmlessly out to sea. Again, I can't really say 100% for certainty, but that's what it looks like on the models. Again, we notice that there has been a southerly trend today in the models. Now, Bermuda will need to watch this very carefully here. Again, there has been, again, some southward shift here in the models, but not a very significant shift at all. And I generally think that this is a 5-day forecast that is pretty certain that this trough is going to be here and eroding and moving eastward, eroding the ridge to the north and allowing the storm to turn out and away to sea. So that should be the case there. Now, if we jump into the central Atlantic here, again, we're also going to be watching another system that could be developing over the next several days. Now, this is out to hour 54. This is 18Z on Sunday, so 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. We notice that, again, we have a broad area of vorticity down across the Bay of Campeche, and this is really the area that we'll be watching for during the next several days. This eventually lifts northward, and you kind of get a brief, broad consolidation around the vorticity here near southern Louisiana. Now, this is and by no means a forecast, but we notice a storm that ends up developing here and moving awfully close to Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle and Mississippi by about 18Z or 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So this is by no means a forecast, but if we look here at the modeling and what the GFS shows, the GFS doesn't really develop a very healthy system at all. And again, only here on day 5 is it acknowledged, and we notice that there's going to be some pretty strong shear kicking away from it, which means that, again, you got some pretty strong north-south flow or south-to-north flow, and that should really create a environment which is just unfavorable. And we notice that there should be some pretty dry air within that vicinity. So, and again, this approaching cold front here would squash any of that. Now, again, we'll have to watch. Again, here's our mega, just big sized. I mean, this thing is, ridiculously large, over 300 nautical miles. So this thing is pretty large in size, and this thing is pretty small. But again, any rain, any additional rainfall to places that were impacted by Ida certainly aren't going to benefit from this at all. In fact, there's a widespread flash flooding issue across places like Laplace, Louisiana, where I was, New Orleans, down there near, La Rose, and over there near Raceland, where Mark Sudduth was. Just a bunch of flooding issues, in that area that was impacted by Ida. Speaking of Ida, real quick, again, if you didn't remember, we were covering Ida, and unfortunately, we didn't really get a super good live stream on YouTube. The cell service out there was pretty non-existent, but we were in Ida, and we actually were able to cover Ida for the most part. Again, we, were in this area in Baton Rouge, and just some of the damage pictures here and just some of the flooding. This is the Cajun Navy assisting people in Laplace, Louisiana. So if you're not familiar, we were there. We were covering the storm, and I appreciate everybody that's kind of stuck it out with us. We will have HD videos coming up on YouTube over the next several days, and our finalized data will be available on Twitter and will be in that YouTube video as well. So I greatly appreciate it if you would go over there, check out Twitter, follow me on YouTube over here, and whatnot. All right. That being said, I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley. I'll talk to you guys again some more tomorrow.